Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of the Crazy Knitter Studio podcast. My name is Kristen, also known as Crazy Knitting Fool on Ravelry, and I am your hostess today. And I am calling this episode, Yeah, It Didn't Happen. So today is Saturday, March 12th, 2016, and I want to welcome all new and returning viewers. So starting lineup. There was no introductions in the past 2 weeks in the introduction thread, but if you come to the Crazy Knitter Studio Ravelry group and introduce yourself in the intro thread, I'll give you a shout out. But I do want to say thank you to Sarah Pomegranate from the Yarns at Yinhu podcast because she gave me a shout out in her latest episode, so that was nice. Going on into Presser, weeks in review, what's been going on around here? Well, 2 weeks ago, little man and I went to Lego time at the library. So they let the kids build Lego structures, whatever they want, and then they put them on display in the kid area. And he always has fun. The librarian thinks it's hilarious because he just sends me on my way. He's like, Mommy, I need this. Mommy, I need that. And I go dig through the buckets and find what he wants. I'm his little gopher. So she thinks it's funny, but I think he likes telling me what to do more than anything. But he comes up with the idea and the plans and uses his imagination, and I just, like I said, I'm the gopher. I just go and get the things he needs, and it's fun. So, and then later the next week, we had a meeting at work. So our vice president, who is my boss's boss, came in, and we used to have these staff meetings like every quarter, twice a year. He hasn't had one in a while. So, it's not good probably when he comes in. So he comes in and he's, giving us the whole big lecture about, we're in unprecedented times, and it's not like our, the company's 50th anniversary is this year, and in 50 years, we haven't had the years like the last two where we'll have one really good quarter, then one really bad quarter, then one really good quarter. We're either doing really good or really bad, but it's never up and down like that. Well, 45 minutes later, no raises this year. Okay, thanks. You could have just sent me an email, but whatever. I get why he wanted to come, and I appreciate it after my last job where literally in 8 months they went from profit sharing checks to filing for bankruptcy and me being laid off. They're at least being proactive. They're doing other things, so he explained the other things that they're trying to do to kind of level things out, but no raise. But they are going to every quarter revisit it. So if things get better, then we might get raises this year. They're not going to wait until next year. So that's cool too, I guess. And then we had another snow day. So I worked from home. It wasn't this past Wednesday. It was the Wednesday before. It snowed. There was a lot of snow Tuesday. I don't know. I didn't drive because I didn't leave the house because we were at home. But my husband he bought a new car, but his old car is horrible in the snow. And he said the roads really weren't that bad. But I think they get to a point where they allot, I think it's 5 days for snow days. And they get to the point where it's like, well, it's the end of February, beginning of March, and we haven't used any. So let's just call school off. What the heck? Oh, well. He played his iPad and watched TV all day, and I was upstairs working. But it worked out all right. And then we went last Friday. His schools had a staff volleyball game versus another elementary school to raise money for a camp for special needs children in the area. So that was fun. We went. It was $2 to get in, and like a bag of chips was $1, and a thing of candy was $2, and it all went to charity. It was all donated by Meijer. If you're in the Midwest, support Meijer. They support their local communities. So we shop at our Meijer that donated the stuff. So I feel good about that. But it was good. We had fun. His school lost. They played 3 games. The other school won the first game. Our school won the second. The other school won the third. And little man got very upset that they lost. But I said, look at them. Look at, his teacher, the principal, a bunch of the other teachers. I'm like, look, Miss Sherman, Miss Dr. Van, they're not upset. They're not crying. They're smiling, even though they lost. But he was tired. That made him very upset. And then Tuesday of this week was Michigan presidential primary. And so we didn't have school again. I had already planned to take the day off, so we went to the movies, which I'll talk about later in another segment. But it was nice. And it's been warm. I've been thrilled. On Tuesday when we were driving to the movies, we had the windows down. It was almost 70 degrees. I mean, it's even like, it hasn't been that warm, but it's been in the 50s. It's like, oh, spring's coming, yay. And do we spring forward tomorrow? I think we do. I think tomorrow's the time change. I know most people, I'm the opposite of most people. I hate falling back. I love springing forward because I love that it's light later. Like, I don't care. I mean, I know that there are people who are like, well, it gets light so late, but it's still light when I leave for work. And then it stays light much, much later. And I'm going to have to pause because I'm going to sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. One bad thing about spring, allergies, and they're starting early this year, so I've been sneezing a lot lately. But I'm loving the warmer temps, and I'm loving that we're springing forward. So bring on spring, bring on summer. I'm a summer baby. And then lastly, we've had some interesting, well, not interesting news. Every 3 years, Clark has been in the special ed program through our school district since he was 2.5. He was speech and language delayed. We were afraid he was never going to talk, which now it's like, okay, just remember this is the kid you thought was never going to talk when he will not be quiet. So every 3 years, the state requires the school to reevaluate him to make sure that he's still eligible for services. So we get a call from the school psychologist. And he wants to meet with us about Clark's reevaluation. I'm like, this is not good. So he meets with us and he wants to test him for autism spectrum disorder. You can't say it came out of left field. It really didn't. But yeah, it's still not something you want to hear. So they did all kinds of evaluations. We had I think 5 different things we had to fill out. And they all asked basically the same questions. They just word them differently. And the one is funny because it's for children 5 to 21, which is quite an age range. So it's like, holds a job. Yeah, no, he's 7. Drives responsibly. No, he's 7. Unless you're talking about his Matchbox cars, which no, he crashes them, so he doesn't drive them responsibly. But, it's just kind of funny. I'm like, not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. So, yes, he's been diagnosed. It's very mild. His is all emotional, behavioral, social issues. His academics, all of his testing for his academics, he's at or above grade level for everything. So it's not cognitive with him, it's all emotional, behavioral, and social, which again doesn't surprise me. So we had his, they're called IEPs, his individual education plan yesterday. So that was a fun 2-hour meeting but I mean, it's nice that we're all now on the same page and their concerns are our concerns, and that's why I'm like, it didn't come out of left field. And, the social worker told us, she's like, if you want to get a second opinion and get him evaluated by a doctor, she's like, I'm going to advise you that he might not be diagnosed because they use different criteria. Clinicians use different criteria than school districts do. School districts are much more narrowly focused because their philosophy is it's not going to hurt to have the services for the kids. It's not going to hurt them. It's only going to benefit them. So they use a much more narrow focus. So a kid as mild as Clark's might not come across into clinicians as being on the spectrum because they use a broader focus, which I guess makes sense. She's right. It's better to err on the side of the caution and give the kids the services than not, So we're going to deal with that as it comes. So anyway. And then finally, my last episode, I talked about finishing projects for bonus points for February for winter camp, and yeah, that didn't happen. So, as you will see in the next segment. So, moving on into the actual knitting. So, first downs, which are the whips. First up is my Birthstone Color Affection. It's the Color Affection pattern by Vera Valimaki. I'm using size 6, 4.0 millimeter needles. The yarn is Knit Picks Palette in Oyster Heather, Blue Note Heather, and Brass Note Heather. So, it is, okay, hold on. Can you see the safety pin? Here's where I left off. And it's kind of hard to see because this is the short row section and it's really bunched up on this needle. But I don't have a bigger cable and I'm not going to buy one because I think it'll be fine. There we go. So, for those of you who don't know, these are our birthstones. So the Oyster Heather, which is the pale color, is Pearl, June for me. The Blue Note Heather is Sapphire, which is September for Little Man. And the Brass Note Heather is Topaz, which is my husband, which is November. And I cannot remember how many repeats I've done. Hold on one moment. I have to get my pattern out. I think I've done 5. Yep, 5 repeats of the short row section and you do 8. So I have 3 more to go. And then I think it's 2 inches on the border and that's done. So it actually is not, I thought it would take longer. I mean, obviously each short row section does get longer, so it takes longer, but it doesn't seem to be the slog that I thought it was going to be, but that's good. And then Rye Socks for Charity is my next whip, or first down, which is the Rye Socks pattern by Tin Can Knits from their Learn to Knit collection. I'm using size 4, 3.5 millimeter, and size 6, 4 millimeter needles, and the yarn is Lion Brand Woolies in Ranch Red. So I was here on the first sock last time, so I finished the toe. So like I said, it's huge. Alright, sorry about that. That was my husband calling. He and little man are out and about. They're eating breakfast at McDonald's. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning, so anyway, so it's huge, but I figured it'll be for a guy, and he'll probably be wearing boots, and if his boots, something, I mean, these are homeless people. They're going to wear what they can, and maybe his boots are too big, so, he wears like 6 pairs of socks to keep his boots. It'll work. So then I started the second one, turned the heel yesterday. So now I just got to pick up and do the foot, and this will be done. So it'll be done for next time. Alright. I do have one touchdown, which is an FO, but it's a little one. It's a preemie hat. It's preemie hat number 5 for the year. So this is the Precious Preemie Hat pattern by Sharon Mooney. Okay. And it's size 3, 3.25 millimeter needles. And the yarn is Red Heart, Heart and Soul, and Tequila Sunrise. So, another quick one, number 5. Need to get moving if I want to do 52 this year, which is my goal. Only at 5, and it's March. Middle of March. Oh well. Alright, turnovers, mistakes. I didn't make any this last... I can't talk. But I didn't make any knitting mistakes the past couple of weeks, so that's good. So training camp, future projects. I am sure you're sick of hearing about the Doctor Who blanket, but I do plan on starting that. I have the day to myself today, and I have cast-on-itis. I have like 55 different things I want to cast on. I'm only allowing myself one or two, so that'll be one. And then I have a baby blanket design pattern in my head, so I'm going to start that as well, which leads us into concessions, which are purchases. So first up, I bought 2 balls of Red Heart Super Saber and Lemon for the baby blanket pattern. And this is funny. I weigh all of my yarn because I'm slightly anal and I want to know exactly how many yards I've knit up. So I weigh it all and do math, which is frightening, to figure out exactly how many yards I have. Now these balls are supposed to be 198 grams. So this one was 196. So I was 2 grams short, which is fine. I mean, I know there's an industry standard deviation, and I'm sure 2 grams is within that. However, I weighed this ball. This one is 218 grams. So this one is like 20 grams more than it's supposed to be. Go figure. Little quality control issue there, as my mom would have said. She worked in quality control, so. But, oh well. Okay, and then I bought some Lion brand woolies in forest green heather. Green is, well, yellow and green are the winter camp colors for March, but that baby blanket will not be done for March. So I wanted to make some knitted baskets, but I can't find a pattern I like, so these might end up being hats. I haven't decided yet. Again, I want to cast on things. Spring fever, but I don't know what. So those are my purchases. Okay, moving on into the film room, which is books, TV, etc., etc. So I've finished 2 books since the last time. I finished what I was reading last time, The Friendship Test by Elizabeth Noble. It was chick lit, decent, not bad. And then I finished a book called The Things We Do for Love by Kristen Hanna. So it's this woman, she and her husband try for years to have a baby. They have lots of miscarriages. They have a preemie who dies, unfortunately. They decide to adopt, and the adoptive mother backs out once the baby's born. So her and her husband end up getting a divorce. She moves back to her small hometown and works in the family restaurant. And she meets this teenage girl whose mom is, you know, her mom had her when she was 17, and she's just always, you know, she's like an alcoholic and barely works, and the girl is working, and she got a scholarship to a fancy private school, and, you know, she's getting ready to go to college and all this, so she comes to work at the restaurant, and, you know, it's just kind of the story of these 2 women who, one needs a child, one needs a mother, and kind of how they come together, and it was good. I like Kristen Hanna. She's one of my new favorite authors. And now I am reading Blossom Street Brides by Debbie McComber. So this is the newest book. I think it came out last year in the Blossom Street series, which is it's knitting, but there's knitting in it, but it's not, I wouldn't really call it a knitting, well, I guess it is a knitting book, but, so, again, it's Debbie McComber. I love her stuff, but it's not Pulitzer Prize winning fiction here, but I like it. I think it's great. And then on Tuesday, when we did not have school, Clark and I went and saw Zootopia. So it was, he really could have cared less. He was like, whatever. I wanted to go see it. I thought it looked adorable, and it was very cute. So it's the story of this rabbit. So it's, you know, prey and predators actually end up living happily together in this town, or the city called Zootopia. And she is a bunny, and she wants to be a police officer, but there's never been a bunny police officer in the history of this city. So, you know, everybody's telling her, you're crazy, it's not going to work, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, she, of course, becomes a police officer. They set her up as a meter maid. And then she, like, kind of stumbles upon this, you know, predators are all of a sudden going wild and like attacking. So they're trying to figure out why. It was very cute. Like I said, good message like most Disney movies have, you know, about how you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. You know, don't let people stop you. You know, don't judge a book by its cover. You know, it was a very cute movie. So I highly recommend it. And it was only Little Man's second time at the movies. We went and saw a Thomas the Tank Engine movie. He was only like 2.5, so he doesn't remember it. So we get there, and he's like, walks in, he sees this huge screen, and I said, yeah, and he's like, wow. And I said, well, and we're walking up the stairs, and I said, well, Mommy likes to sit towards the top in the middle. He goes to the very top. I'm like, okay, fine. He counts how many seats there are in the row. So we're exactly in the middle. I thought it was cute. But, so, it was funny. We had a good time. About 3/4 of the way through, he was like, is it done yet? Are we over? Is it done? When's it going to be done? I want it to be done. I want to go home. But, we liked it. Okay, moving on into the post game, the wrap up. So I have had no takers, but I'm still offering to buy people the Fish Lips Kiss Heel pattern by Sock Therapist if they want. She's suffering from cancer, so she's trying to sell as many patterns as she can to raise some money. I still haven't bought it for myself. I need to go do that. It's just one of those things. I think about it and I'm not at a computer and then it leaves my mind because I don't write it down. If I don't write it down, it doesn't stay. And you can contact me. So on Ravelry, I am Crazy Knitting Fool. On Twitter, I am Crazy Knit Fool. On Instagram, it's Crazy Knitter Studio. The blog is crazyknitterstudio.blogspot.com. The email is crazyknitterstudio@gmail.com. And the Ravelry group is Crazy Knitter Studio. The next episode will be March 26th, 2 weeks. I hope you all have a good couple of weeks. I need to go and upload this because it's going to be in 3 files now. So it's going to take me pretty much all day to edit and upload and do all that fun stuff. So I hope you guys have a good couple of weeks and do all the knitting, crocheting, sewing, whatever it is you like to do. And have a good time. Thanks. Bye.